our second take of this.
We're not live yet.
We're not live. We're live. I think we're live, yes.
We're live. We're live.
Okay, so this is the second take for this. We tried this yesterday, but I couldn't figure out how to use Google Hangouts. It took me nearly an hour with the help of Tom. And then Tom couldn't connect with Google Hangouts, and then we did it Skype, and unfortunately with Skype, there was a lot of echo. So we had a great conversation anyway, Tom. It's just a pity. It's a pity it didn't really work too well.
It was a good one.
I still have it. I mean, I might transcribe some of it, maybe put it up on my website, because I think some of the points you were making yesterday was very good. So I might combine a little of today with some of what you said yesterday, because I thought it was pretty good. So anyway, let's get started. So, so I'm talking with Tom. He's the Beer Whisperer. He's a cool beer blogger from the good old US of A. And hopefully we're going to talk a bit about beer, blogging, the pub and bar scene, where Tom's from, and whatever else we can think about in the next few minutes or so. So Tom, thanks once again for joining me again. So as always,
thanks for asking.
At the start, what are we drinking today?
Well, today, actually, I just found this. Actually, this is, I don't know if you can see the age on it, but this is a Unibrow Grand Reserve 17 aged with French oak, bottle re-fermented ale, dark ale on lees, ale brewed with spices, aged with French oak and natural flavors added. It's 10%. But if you can see that date, this is actually a 2014 vintage. So it's been around a while. It's got a date on the back. It says best before 12/8 of 19. So according to this date, it's still good. But this one for a while, and I decided to go ahead and pop her.
Okay. Okay. What percentage is that? Strong beer, is it?
10%.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a strong ale. 10%. What are you drinking?
Well, last night I was in France, and today I'm in. Last night I was in Germany, and today I'm in France. And I know it's a macro beer, but it's the most popular beer in France. It's Kronenberg. It's a pale lager.
Oh yeah, I can get those here.
It's not too exciting, but you know, it's. I asked the wife to get me something in the shop, and this is what she came back with. So I can't complain, you know. It's better than tea anyway. It's. I mean, a lot of people put their nose up at macro beers, but I don't know. When it's coming cold from the fridge, you know, it's fine. It's well balanced, has all the good flavors.
There you go. Drink what you like.
So, just as we were saying last night, the Beer Whisperer. So, where did that name come from?
You know, I was trying to remember exactly who gave that one to me. I can't remember. I was in a beer group, or still am actually, in a beer group on Facebook called Beer Drinkers United. And somebody from that group started calling me Beer Whisperer. I can't remember who it was.
Okay. And how long have you been doing?
I just kind of ran with it.
How long have you been doing the blog, Tom?
The blog I've had, actually, I think I told you yesterday 3 years, but I guess this March, come March, it'll be 4 years I've done the blog.
Okay.
For the website.
Okay. So what made you want to start a beer blog and a whiskey blog as well? What was the initial reason for starting up these blogs?
Well, I've been wanting to do it for a lot of years, but I tend to procrastinate. So it was just one of those things I finally decided one day just to go ahead and pull the trigger on it. I mean, I said I was going to do it, you know, back about 2011 and 2012. My son got sick, and our lives kind of changed, and I just forgot about it for a little bit. And then in 2014, I just decided I was going to go ahead and do it.
Okay. What was your first article on the blog? Can you remember?
You know what? I can't remember exactly. I mean, boy, I wish I'd have researched it now. I think we're just mostly rambling on about something. Yeah, but actually, to be honest with you, it took me about 2 years to really find the direction I wanted to go with it, right? Because I was looking at everybody else's out there. There was a lot of the hot button craft beer issues, you know, macros are bad, craft beer booms, you know, craft beer is going to bust at some point. And it seems like everybody was rehashing the same article over and over again. So I think it was about 2 years ago, and I really decided, okay, I just want to take it a different direction, make it more of a kind of a, I don't know if diary is the right word, but just kind of a, a day in the life of the beer whisperer. So most of what I write is just kind of, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. This is the beer I'm drinking. I don't, I mean, you know me long enough to know I don't really do a beer review. I'll give you some notes, but I'm not really a beer review. So it just kind of became that thing. Just, you know, here I am, just kind of a maybe folksy, you know, column. More editorial, I guess. You know, it's more editorial, I would guess.
Yeah, well, it's kind of similar to mine. I mean, my website is called Thisdrinkinglife, and that's just what it is. It's a life of drinking beer and having a good time. You know, it's nothing too serious. You know. So, what kind of feedback have you been getting? Maybe in the beer community and from outside the beer community. I mean, has anybody in the local community said, "Hey, you're the guy that does this beer blog"? You know?
I do get that. I would say I get 90% positive. You know, you can't do what we do and not pick up a troll every now and again. But yeah, you know, it's funny. I get recognized in my neck of the woods. But you know, I'll travel 3 hours east to St. Louis, and somebody will, you know, I'll go to a brewery tap room or a brew pub and get recognized. And, you know, I don't know, it was about a year ago or so. I was in a tourist town about 45 minutes from Springfield called Branson, and I was at a Crown Valley distillery, and some guy from New York recognized me. He was, you know, so it's funny. I'm 45 minutes from somebody from all the way from New York recognizes me in Branson. It was just kind of interesting.
Okay, and so what about your family and your friends and the number one, your wife? What does she think of all this?
Well, my wife is supportive. She really is. In fact, she gives me space to do these videos and stuff. But I mean, she thinks I'm nuts. Because every once in a while she'll be in the room when I'm doing a video, and when I go full on beer whisperer into character, she just shakes her head at some of the things I've seen, or some of the things I say rather. So because I mean, you know, I joke when people comment about something that I've said. I said, hell, even I never know what I'm going to say next. I mean, it's all unscripted, it's all off the cuff, and you know, people will comment, "Wow, you said this," and so then I have to go back and watch the video because I've got no recollection of what I said.
Okay. Does your wife like to drink herself? I mean, does she?
That's the funny part. Is I joke. My wife and I have been married. It'll be 24 years this year. But I joke that I married my designated driver because she doesn't drink at all. Now she doesn't have a fundamental issue with drinking. She just doesn't drink.
Well, that's funny because it's the same for my wife. She doesn't drink at all as well.
That's funny. There we go.
So maybe that's the secret, you know.
It works for me, man. Apparently, it works for you as well.
If you marry someone who drinks as much as you do, it could be a recipe for disaster, maybe, you know.
I'm gonna have that balance, that yin and yang, you know.
And my wife, she absolutely no interest in what I do, so it's fine.
Don't mind my even.
So, what's the best advice then for running a beer blog? What have you learned? What have you learned along the way in the last few years? No advice.
You know, I'm not going to presume to tell anybody how to run their blog, other than, you know, whatever that is. If you want to do a Just the Facts Man, you know, review site, that's fine. If you've got a big personality, be that. Whoever you are, be that. That's the best advice. I'm not going to tell somebody how they should write. I mean, be whoever you are, you know, because if you're not, it comes off as you know, you're not coming off as authentic. You got to be who you are, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And some people are going to like you, and some people aren't. You have to be aware that you're going to get some hate no matter what you do.
So how do you deal with the trolls then?
You know, I don't seek out confrontation, but I'm not afraid of it either. So initially, I would just, do what I do and say something back to them. But then I come to realize over the last couple of years that that's what they want. They're looking to pick a fight. So when you say something back to them, you're giving them what they want. So lately, I've just decided, especially this year, I kind of, I don't know if I'd call it a New Year's resolution, but I've decided just to weed out any negativity from my life.
Yeah, I don't.
My wife and I lost our son to cancer, and it's a constant struggle. So other negativity, it just weighs you down. So whenever I get a negative, if you say something about a video and it relates to the video, hey, I don't like what you said here, or this was bad, or I don't agree with that. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But when you say something nasty that has nothing to do with the video content, I'm going to delete your comment. I'm not going to acknowledge you. I'm not going to give you what you want.
Yeah, I think that's the best attitude to have. I mean, I don't notice you have too many trolls anyway. Do you? Do you have any? Anybody?
I do have a few. It's funny. They kind of come and go. I've gone through periods where all of a sudden there was a period a couple of years ago. It seemed like I had a bunch of them. I just kept getting bam, 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 and I kind of weeded those folks out. And now I don't know if I've got a specific troll, but every once in a while, I'll get a negative comment. But yeah, for the most part, I would say it's 90% positive.
Yeah, I think it's pretty positive. I guess that's, as I was saying last night, that's probably because of your unique style. I mean, you're not like a lot of bear tubers. You're kind of like a YouTube barroom, maybe. It's all about the chats, the banter. Sometimes you get political. Sometimes you talk about sport.
It comes off that way.
And then you have your music as well.
Yeah, it comes off that way. I kind of, I ramble just like, if you and I were in a bar room, or a pub, there'd be music playing, or we'd be watching the game, and we'd be talking about those things. So I'm glad it comes off that way, because that's what I try to do it as.
Yeah. So as I was saying, is that, as I asked last night, is that what you really like in in your local bar? Or is it double personality?
It is, actually, it is. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people don't like to go to bars alone. And I actually, in some ways, I prefer to go to a bar or a pub alone, because if you go in with a group of friends, you're obligated to stay with that group. You know what I mean? When I go to a pub, I just want to talk to everybody. So, I just kind of mingle, and, I'll walk into a pub that I've never been to before. And before I've left, or by the time I've left 2 hours later, I've shook hands and met everybody in there. We've talked about sports and who knows what else. So, yeah, I don't mind going to a pub alone, and sometimes I just prefer it.
I think that's probably your Irish genes there, the gift of the gab and all that, maybe.
Is that it? Yeah.
There's no strangers in an Irish bar, just as they say, friends you haven't made yet, or something like that. So you sometimes play music in your YouTube videos, but are YouTube cracking down on that? Or like you sometimes have issues that you're not allowed to play? I'm not quite sure with that angle.
Well, you'll get a copyright notice, right? If they notice something, but I don't have my videos monetized anyway, so it's not really an issue. I mean, okay. I'm not on YouTube to make money. I'm on YouTube just to do what I do. So, but yeah, I mean, if your videos are monetized, it becomes an issue.
But it's your music is in the background. It's not, it's not pumping out. Okay, so
I know, right? So that's
yeah, sorry, small time delay. Sorry, small time delay.
Yeah.
I think we're doing okay for 7 hours or 6 hours time delay. 7 hours, I think. So what?
That's right.
We're both drinking beer, so the beer never stops. The beer never sleeps.
Never stops. It's unlimited.
Even when we're sleeping, we get it pumped in, you know. So what do you think of the beer scene today, these days? The craft beer, the IPA, the junkies, the hipsters. I mean, we touched on it last night, but beer scene these days.
Well, it is different. I mean, I just remember, you know, when I turned 21 in '86, and there were a lot of mom and pop bars back then where you can just walk in, you can get to know the bartender, you get to know the people that were there. And nowadays, it seems like everything is, you know, there's just a lot of chain everything, so you can't really get to know a bartender. You know, your drinks are all measured out precisely. And bartenders, younger bartenders, I've noticed especially, don't try to get to know, you know, the patrons very well. I mean, some of them don't even crack a smile or talk to you. They want your order, you give you a drink, and they don't talk to you the rest of the time. I'm just an old school guy that remembers when the bartender was just friendly. You know, and I do kind of miss that, to be honest with you. I mean, as far as hipsters go, yeah, you know what I mean. I hate to generalize and stereotype, but yeah, I mean, you do have that section of hipsters that act like they invented craft beer. Hey, look, we invented craft beer. No, you didn't. You may have helped propagate it, but you didn't invent it.
Yeah, I agree. We were talking last night. Untapped, Rate My Beer, Beer Advocate. Do you want to go over that again?
Oh, sure, why not? Okay, so I'm going to try to I'm going to do Rate Beer and Beer Advocate together. Then I'll tackle Untapped separately. But my issue with Beer Advocate and Rate Beer is this. I mean, I see those. I see Rate Beer and Beer Advocate as basically the tabloids of the beer world. I mean, you know, you're in your supermarket, you're checking out, and you look over and you got the National Enquirer and the other, you know. Look, Oprah had an alien baby. Donald Trump has 3 peckers, all an inch long. I mean, they're quick headlines, but they're not necessarily the truth. And that's the problem with Rate Beer and Beer Advocate is you've got these, you know, a lot of just wannabe hipster beer drinkers that go to their beer cooler instead of just, you know, having a mind for yourself and just thinking for yourself. They pop out their phone, they look up Beer Advocate, look up Rate Beer, and listen to some Joe Schmo that they've probably never met, and either buy the beer or don't buy the beer on their recommendation. And not considering that 90% of the information on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate is just inaccurate. You know, you're listening to, or you're reading reviews and taking to heart what somebody who probably doesn't know a stout from a porter. I mean, these guys don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, yet you're taking their advice. So my advice is get out your phone and just look up the brewer's website. Look up the particulars of that beer and then decide of them. But don't pay attention to those websites because most of the information on there was written by jackasses who have no idea what beer is in the first place.
Yeah, I remember when I was, I mean, I do be on them, but for me, it's more a personal record of my own
Yeah.
beers. Like, because, you know, I can't remember all the beers I've drank, so it's a handy reference point for my own beers. But I don't really take into consideration what's hot or what's not. It's, you know, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I don't care what other people say.
Yeah.
But I remember I was on, I can't remember, was it Rate My Beer or the other one? What's the other one? Rate My Beer and Beer Advocate, yeah. And I just the only, I think it was the one and only time I went on the forum, and I did a beer crawl in Dublin. You know, 10 bars, 10 pints of Guinness. I thought, you know, what else would you be drinking in Dublin? You know, if you're going to do a beer crawl, you know, of course you're going to be drinking Guinness. And the amount of people that was giving me a hard time, you're saying, oh, it's so boring. You should have been drinking, you know, this kind of stout and this hipster stout and craft beer stout. And I was, yeah, maybe, but you can't be, you know, you're in Dublin, the best city in the world for bars and drinking and beer chat and beer fun. And you're going to be drinking Guinness. That's it, you know. And I couldn't believe, why would people be arguing about that, you know? So it didn't make sense to me.
Well, you know, it just becomes, you know, it becomes cool and trendy to hate on certain things, and Guinness has become one of those things to hate on from hipsters. Now I know I'm probably about 20 years older than you. I'm in my 50s, so for me, the first stout I ever had was Guinness, right? So although there are so many great craft beers out there now, I would never say a bad thing about Guinness, because that is the beer that got me interested in trying other beers. You know, and again, when I ever have the good fortune to go to Dublin, that's the first damn thing I'm ordering is a properly poured pint of Guinness.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about macro beers. A lot of craft beer fanatics, you know, they just have the hard on about crushing all kinds of macro beers. I mean, some of macro beers are shit, but Guinness does get a hard time, and I just don't understand it, because you go to an ordinary working class pub in Dublin, all the guys would be drinking Guinness, and you're telling me because they don't have fancy beards and are listening to jazz that their opinions don't count about beer, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I would love to go to Dublin. I would love to go to Dublin, order a properly poured pint of Guinness. And I would have to say, is from what Guinness makes, I love their FES. I love the Guinness or export stout. The Guinness Antwerpen stout I tried last year was just brilliant.
I just prefer their one and only original, you know, the Guinness. That's it. All the other stuff I'm not too hot about.
There you go. Hey, that's nothing wrong with that either.
So what is your favorite beer? What is your go-to beer? What's the one that when you're down you need to drink it, raise the spirits?
You know, that's funny. A lot of people have been talking about that lately. I don't know that I have a go-to in particular. I mean, I tend to drink more seasonally. Like right now, I've been drinking a lot of stouts, a lot of imperial stouts, a lot of barrel-aged stouts. When it's cold, it's snowing here. It's about 15 degrees, and you know, I tend to drink seasonally. But when the weather gets back up to about 100 degrees, I'm going to find comfort in just the best craft pilsner I can find. But I don't know that I have that one particular comfort beer brand. I have certain comfort beer styles. Like again, a stout is comfort beer for me. You know, a classic Guinness is a comfort beer for me. But yeah, I don't have that one that I always go back to.
Okay.
Skipped ahead, and I forgot to talk about Untapped. My issue with Untapped is a little bit different than the other two. My issue with Untapped is it's almost like, you know, back in my day, everybody had a little black book, right? You had addresses before you got married and phone numbers of women. You know, and people was, oh, you know, I banged 100 women. No, I banged 150. No, I banged 200. And I think Untapped is the same way. Oh, I've drank 500 beers. No, I drank 1,000. But you know, it's just a big dick measuring contest. And then they want you to drink certain styles to get these imaginary trophies and ribbons. I mean, it seems like a hive mind mentality. You know, zombie, be like me, drink this beer. Everybody has to try this beer. That's my issue with Untapped. Is I think it restricts individuality.
Yeah. Okay. So I was asking you about you're into whiskey as well. You also write a blog, I think.
I am. Facebook page. I've got a Facebook page as Beer Whisperer, and I've got a Facebook page as a Whiskey Whisperer. I don't have a separate website, but I do on my Beer Whisperer website. I do have a separate area where I write about some whiskey as well. I've got this ongoing series on my website, whiskeys under $35. You know, and the inspiration for that was somebody made a comment on one whiskey site I'm in that there isn't any good whiskey under $50. So I took umbrage to that, and I started looking for anything drinkable under 35.
I think there probably is. You know, I was asking about your surname. It's Irish surname. So as I was saying, have you ever?
Mulvihill, yes.
Yeah, and have you ever been to the old country? I asked you that last night.
No, I haven't, and I really want to go. See, my wife and I and my son, were planning a trip to go out there, and then he was diagnosed with leukemia in 2012, and then the following year we lost him to leukemia. And then it just became too painful to even think about going to Ireland. I think my wife and I are starting to get to the place where we may go at some point when we can afford it, because I think he would want us to get there, but when we finally bite that bullet and get out to Ireland, we want to be able to go there and be happy and think about Seamus in a pint of Dublin crying.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to do 10 pints and 10-pint beer crawl in Dublin, and it'll be only Guinness. So, do you know where your family or your wife's family is from?
My wife's family, my wife's family is Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to remember where mine was, and I'm thinking, I had an aunt research it, and I believe she said it was Cork.
Okay, down south, yeah, okay. Have you ever tried, you said you're a stout man, have you ever tried Murphy's stout from Cork?
I do. Yeah, I've had Murphy's. I find that comparing Murphy's to Guinness I find Murphy's is creamier, it's smoother. I find Guinness has more flavor. That's my take on both.
I don't think they're not really comparable at all. I mean, but of course, Murphy's in Dublin tastes disgusting, but once you get to Cork, it just changes,
Oh, really?
It's funny how that works.
What I've had here in the States, I find Murphy's is a creamier stout, has a creamier mouthfeel, but I prefer the taste of Guinness because I like the bolder notes that Guinness has. That's my take on both of them.
Okay, so what about the future then? 2018, have you any exciting plans, or are you just going to keep on going on with the blog, or what are you going to be doing?
Oh, hell, man, you know me. I kind of wing everything, right? I mean, I'm not a planner. I've gotten to it seems like every time we've tried to plan something, something happens. So I've gotten to the point in this stage of my life that I'm just going to wing everything, The honest dream vacation for my wife and I, if money wasn't an object, we just would probably rent a car and just meander with no plan, just drive across the states, drive wherever we wanted to go, and have no plan whatsoever. I'm a perfect tourist, right? Every time I go someplace different, I mean, I'll stop for the largest bottle of wine, or whatever tourist trap. I just love that kind of thing. I'm the ultimate tourist. I love going to, I like finding that great mom and pop restaurant that tourists don't go to. I just place that typically people from out of town don't go. That's just what I love to do.
And so just for anybody that's going to be looking at this, where can people find you online, and what's your Facebook pages, YouTube accounts, and all that crack?
Well, for YouTube, if you're on YouTube, if you just type in Beer Whisperer, I'm going to pull right up. On Google Plus, you're going to find the same thing. I'm just listed as Beer Whisperer. On Twitter, it's at Beer Whisperer 1. On Facebook, if you pull up at Tom the Beer Whisperer 1, you're going to get my Beer Whisperer site. If you pull up at the @ at the Whiskey Whisperer, you'll get my whiskey site. And then a friend of mine, Jeff Lyons, on Facebook, did have a Facebook group called Drinking Whiskey, if anybody's interested.
Okay.
Let's see, did I leave out any social media there? Let's see, Google Plus, Twitter, YouTube. I think that's all of it, man.
Okay, so that's it. That's pretty much it, Tom. Thanks once again. I think maybe
no
we're both.
Oh, I don't scare your viewers away, man.
I think I was a little bit jaded after this. Is like the second time. Okay, so that's it, Tom. I hope this time there's no echo or anything, but I'll edit it as well as best I can. I know you can edit these Google Live things. So thanks once again. As I was saying, Tom, I'm going to Ireland in a few weeks' time. So I want you to send me your contact details so I can send you that bottle of whiskey. Okay, Tom, I appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good night, or have a good day.
Rob.
Have a good day or night, or whatever it is.
You too. Thanks, man.
Bye.